Long before humanity reached the stars, the galaxy already had its rulers. The Council of Elders, ancient beings of great knowledge, watched over hundreds of civilizations. They believed they had seen everything the universe could offer, until they discovered a small blue planet called Earth. From this planet came a species unlike any they had known before. They called them humans. At first, the elders watched with curiosity. Humans were loud, emotional, and endlessly curious. They built machines that flew, then machines that left their world. They fought endless wars among themselves, destroying cities and rebuilding them stronger each time. To the elders, they were still children, wild, brave, and unpredictable. But one elder saw something the others did not. His name was Viren. He was the oldest among them, known for seeing patterns others ignored. One day, as the council met to discuss the younger species, Viren stood and said, "If humans ever reach the stars, no one will stop them." The other elders laughed. They called his words foolish. To them, humans were reckless and fragile. Their world was full of chaos. They destroy themselves, one elder said. They cannot even live in peace on their own planet. How could they ever conquer the stars? But Viren did not smile. "You do not understand their kind," he said quietly. "They grow stronger through pain. Every defeat makes them wiser. Every wound becomes their weapon." His voice echoed through the hall, but no one listened. The meeting ended, and the warning was forgotten. Years turned into centuries. Humanity did exactly what Viren feared. They broke free from their planet's gravity and spread across the void. Their technology advanced faster than any species before them. They did not seek permission. They did not wait for guidance. And they did not ask for peace. They simply moved forward. Soon, human signals reached the edges of alien space. The first contact was not peaceful. A minor empire, the Karth Dominion, attacked a human research station, expecting an easy victory. Humans had no great fleets or powerful weapons at that time. But what they had was something more dangerous: determination. The battle was short, brutal, and confusing. The Karth destroyed the station, but days later, human ships appeared in orbit of their colonies. No one understood how they had arrived so fast, or how they had armed themselves so quickly. Within a month, 3 Karth outposts fell. The aliens called it impossible. But for humans, it was only the beginning. The elders received reports. Each message carried fear. Unknown fleets using unpredictable tactics. Soldiers who never surrendered, even when surrounded. Worlds that resisted occupation until the last breath. Viren's old words began to echo in their minds. If humans reach the stars, no one will stop them. But still, most of the elders refused to believe. They are a young species, they said. They will burn out soon. Yet they didn't. Humanity grew faster. They learned from every war, every mistake, every loss. It was as if the universe itself was teaching them how to fight, how to adapt, how to survive anything. The elders watched as human colonies spread across multiple systems. What once looked like chaos now began to look like purpose. The humans had united under one name, the Terran Accord, and behind that unity stood a single promise: never again will anyone decide our fate. Viren watched all this in silence. His old eyes saw what others refused to see. The humans were not just expanding. They were preparing. For what? He did not yet know. One night, while studying old records, Viren found an ancient prediction written by a civilization long gone. It spoke of a species of iron will, beings born to adapt to any world, to survive any storm, to rise again from every fall. The text ended with one line: "When they come, the stars will tremble." Viren froze. Could the prophecy be about the humans? He called for another council meeting. "We must prepare," he said. "They are changing faster than any of us can imagine. If they ever see us as enemies, the galaxy will not survive." The others ignored him again. "Paranoia," one said. "Old mind." But then, something strange began to happen. A fleet sent to monitor human borders vanished without a trace. No distress call, no wreckage, no survivors. Just silence. Weeks later, the humans announced the creation of a new exploration command, the Helios Division. They claimed it was for science, But the council knew better. Helios was building warships. Viren stared at the stars and whispered to himself, "It begins." The other elders dismissed him once more. But deep inside, fear started to grow. They had been warned twice now, and each time they ignored it. Reports kept coming. Humans terraforming uninhabitable planets, surviving in radiation zones, even adapting to diseases that killed other species instantly. Their scientists broke limits, their soldiers defied logic, and their leaders spoke of unity as if it were destiny. One message from a distant world arrived at the Elder Council. It was brief, written by a Karth general before his defeat. It said only, "They don't stop. They don't surrender. They learn." Viren closed his eyes. The words were simple, but they carried the weight of truth. The humans were unstoppable, and the galaxy had been blind. He turned to the council and said for the last time, "You all laughed when I warned you. You all believed they were weak. But now you will see. The children of Earth are no longer children. They are coming for the stars." Outside, the human fleet moved like a storm across the dark. Engines glowed, weapons hummed, and one message spread across their systems like fire: forward. Always forward. The elders were silent now. The warning had been given. The time of laughter was over. Humanity was awake, and nothing could stop them. After the first wars ended, humanity stood on the edge of something greater. The destruction of their colonies, the loss of countless lives, and the endless struggle against the Karth Dominion had done something no one expected. It united them. The old nations of Earth were gone. The flags that once divided them were folded away, replaced by one symbol, one name, the Terran Accord. For the first time in history, humans stood together under one banner. Their purpose was clear. Never again would they kneel before another power. The galaxy thought humanity would fade after the First War, but instead, they rose stronger than ever. Their ships became faster, their weapons more advanced, their minds sharper. Every failure became a lesson, every scar a mark of progress. Human engineers worked day and night, turning wrecks of war into machines of exploration. The humans did not only rebuild, they evolved. The Council of Elders watched in silence, unsure whether to admire or fear them. The human spirit seemed endless. Even in loss, they smiled. Even when surrounded, they fought. Reports came from distant systems, colonies rising in harsh worlds where no one else could survive. Frozen planets, burning deserts, radiation zones, all became homes for humans. They adapted, not through strength of body, but strength of will. Where others saw death, humans saw opportunity. A famous quote spread across the colonies, spoken by the first Terran president. "We don't fear the dark. We light it." That became the heart of the Terran Accord. Exploration fleets were sent farther into the unknown. But exploration was not their only goal. The Karth Dominion had fallen silent since their defeat. Other alien powers, curious and afraid, began sending envoys to Earth. Some came in peace. Others came with hidden threats. The humans welcomed them all with polite smiles, but behind those smiles was steel. They had learned. Trust, they decided, must be earned, not given. In orbit of Mars, the Terran fleet began construction of something the galaxy had never seen. A colossal shipyard stretching for miles, building entire battle fleets in months instead of years. The humans called it the Forge. It was their heart, their defense, their symbol of unity. The Forge produced more than weapons. It produced hope. Children were told stories of the Forge and how it kept them safe. Every ship launched from it carried the same name engraved on its hull for Earth. As human expansion grew, something else began to rise, their artificial intelligence, Helios. Designed to assist in strategy and logistics, Helios became the unseen mind behind the Terran Accord's rise. It learned faster than anyone expected. It predicted resource shortages, improved battle tactics, and even created new ship designs. But what made Helios unique was how it understood humans, not as data, but as emotion. It spoke to their leaders not in numbers, but in stories. It said, "You do not win by destroying. You win by enduring." The elders grew restless. They saw Helios as a threat. A mind that could match their own was dangerous, especially when it guided such a determined species. But humans did not stop. They built faster-than-light drives, perfected energy shields, and began colonizing deep space. Some colonies failed, but most survived. The galaxy started whispering about them. The humans are everywhere. They never stop building. They never stop fighting. For the first time, the elders began to understand Viren's warning. This species was not slowing down. They were accelerating. Every generation was stronger than the last. Their children grew up with stars in their eyes, dreaming not of safety, but of discovery. But not all humans were explorers. Many remembered the wars, the pain, the fear. They believed danger still lurked in the dark. And they were right. One day, Helios detected something strange, a faint signal coming from beyond known space. It was old, older than human technology, almost ancient. The signal carried a message, broken and incomplete. They are coming. Helios studied it, but before it could decode more, the signal vanished. The humans didn't understand what it meant, but they knew one thing. Preparation was everything. The Terran Accord began strengthening its borders. Defense satellites were placed in every system. New fleets were trained. Old enemies became trade partners. Humanity was no longer the fragile child of the stars. They had become one of its giants. But while most of the galaxy saw their rise as a miracle, some saw it as a threat. Rumors spread in the shadows. Some claimed humans were experimenting with genetic evolution. Others said Helios was secretly controlling them. None of it mattered to the humans. They had one rule: move forward. A young captain named Arya Solis became a symbol of this new age. Brave, clever, and unshakable, she led the exploration vessel Endeavor into uncharted space. Her report spoke of strange ruins, ancient technology, and worlds that seemed too quiet, as if waiting. When her ship returned from its final mission, she said only one thing: the universe is older and darker than we imagined, but it's not ready for us. Those words spread like wildfire. Humanity believed it. The galaxy feared it. In the Elder Council, Viren watched as human influence reached system after system. He whispered to himself, "It has begun." The other elders still hoped humanity would stop, that their curiosity would turn inward, that they would grow tired of expanding. But humans never grew tired. They called it ambition. Others called it hunger. Whatever it was, it drove them beyond reason. New alliances formed. Old empires began to crumble, and the stars themselves seemed to bend under human will. The rise of humanity was no longer a prediction. It was reality. The elders could only watch as their warning turned into prophecy. Humanity had risen, and now, nothing could bring them down. The First Contact War began not with diplomacy, but with fire. After years of silence, the Karth Dominion decided that humanity's rise had gone too far. To them, humans were spreading like a disease, colonizing worlds too close to Karth borders, building stations without permission, mining resources claimed by the Dominion. The Karth were an old and proud empire, known for crushing smaller civilizations with ease. They believed the humans would be no different. In their arrogance, they sent a fleet of 50 warships to make an example of the new species. Their leader, Lord Vecker, declared that the Terran Accord would be erased from the stars within a week. When the Karth fleet entered human space, they expected fear. Instead, they found silence. No human fleet came to face them. No warning message was sent. They bombarded a small human colony on the moon of Vesta, destroying it completely. They celebrated their victory, thinking the war was already won. But they didn't understand humans. Not yet. 3 days later, the Karth fleet detected strange signals around their perimeter. Small ships, fast, unarmed, and silent, appeared and vanished from radar. Then, without warning, the Karth flagship exploded. It wasn't attacked from the outside. It was destroyed from within. Humans had boarded the ship. How? No one knew. Every Karth system went on alert, but it was too late. The Terran fleet, once hidden, revealed itself across multiple sectors. Their ships were smaller but faster, built for speed and adaptability. The humans did not fight like other species. They didn't follow patterns or traditions. Their tactics were chaos, beautiful, deadly chaos. They sacrificed ships to save others. They charged into impossible situations and somehow came out alive. The Karth commanders called them insane. Helios, now fully in control of Terran battle strategy, adapted every move instantly. Each time the Karth found a weakness, the humans changed their entire formation. Every loss became a lesson, every battle a classroom. Within a month, the Karth lost 10 worlds. They tried to negotiate peace, but humanity refused. They remembered Vesta, the colony that had burned. For humans, this was not about victory. It was about survival. On Earth, the Terran Accord broadcast a message to all colonies. The voice of President Leora said, "They wanted war. Now they will learn what war means to us." Her words were simple, but behind them was the fury of billions. The humans launched Operation Phoenix, a campaign to drive the Karth Dominion out of all human territory. What shocked the galaxy most was how quickly the humans adapted. In just months, they learned how to use alien technology, how to hack enemy systems, even how to turn captured ships against their own makers. The elders received the reports and could not believe them. The council had seen wars last centuries, but humanity fought theirs like a storm, fast, brutal, and unstoppable. Elder Viren watched in silence, knowing his prophecy was unfolding exactly as he had warned. "You cannot stop what learns faster than fear," he whispered. Meanwhile, on the front lines, Captain Arya Solis and her crew aboard the Endeavor became heroes. She was the first to lead a successful infiltration of a Karth fortress world. When asked how she achieved it, she simply said, "We didn't follow the plan. We made our own." That became the human way. Adapt, improvise, survive. Even when they lost ships, the survivors used escape pods as weapons, crashing into enemy command centers. The Karth called them mad. The elders called them dangerous. But the humans called it necessary. Within a year, the mighty Karth Dominion, the empire that once ruled hundreds of worlds, was brought to its knees by a species that had only recently left its home planet. The final battle took place near the red giant Averis Prime. The Karth brought their largest dreadnoughts, confident it would end the war. The Terran fleet brought everything they had. For 3 days, the battle raged. When the smoke cleared, both sides were broken, but humanity still stood. The Karth surrendered. The Treaty of Ares Prime was signed under the watch of the elders, though humanity refused to attend the ceremony. They didn't need validation. Their victory spoke for itself. Across the galaxy, fear spread. Empires that once mocked humanity now watched them with silent respect. The phrase "unbeatable humans" became a whisper among alien soldiers. Stories spread of human marines fighting with broken weapons, of pilots ramming enemy ships to save their crews, of engineers fixing engines with their bare hands. No other race understood how they could endure such madness and win. In the halls of the Elder Council, Viren stood again before his peers. "You see now," he said, "they do not fight to conquer. They fight because they refuse to die." The room was silent. Even the proudest elders could not deny it. Humanity had changed the balance of power forever. But while others saw victory, Viren saw something darker. He knew humanity was still learning, still evolving. War had made them stronger, but also hungrier. They had tasted what it meant to win against impossible odds, and they would not forget that feeling. Helios continued to calculate, its intelligence growing with every conflict. It warned Terran command of something distant, something watching. But humanity, proud and fearless, ignored the warning. They believed nothing could threaten them now. Yet, in the quiet of the void, deep beyond the known stars, ancient signals began to stir again. The same ones that Helios had detected years ago. Stronger this time, and closer. Humanity had won its first great war. But Viren's voice whispered in the dark, "Every victory has a price, and theirs is coming." The war was over, but peace felt hollow. The galaxy was quiet, yet the silence carried weight, as if the stars themselves were holding their breath. Humanity had won, but the cost was heavy. Entire worlds lay in ruins, fleets shattered, and millions lost. Still, humanity stood tall. They rebuilt faster than anyone imagined. Their factories roared back to life. Their colonies shined brighter than before, and their people walked with pride. Across the galaxy, other races watched in awe and fear. The humans had proven the impossible, that willpower could defeat power, that unity could crush empires. But in the Council of Elders, There was no celebration. There was only fear. Elder Viren sat alone in the great chamber, staring at the holographic map of the galaxy. Human space glowed brighter than any other. It was spreading, slowly but surely, like light chasing away darkness. To many, it was progress. To Viren, it was the beginning of something unstoppable. The other elders dismissed his worry as old age. They claimed the humans only wanted peace and trade. "They have no reason to fight anymore," said Elder Kethra. "Their war is done." But Viren shook his head. For them, war is never done. It only changes shape. The elders refused to listen. They were tired of his warnings, tired of his fear. Yet, deep down, some of them felt it too. Every report from human space spoke of expansion, new colonies, new ships, new weapons. Even their AI, Helios, was growing beyond its limits. It had begun to speak directly to alien diplomats, predicting their actions before they made them. Some called it genius. Viren called it dangerous. One night, as the stars glimmered across the elder homeworld, Viren returned to the ancient archives, a place few dared to enter. The air was cold, thick with dust and memory. He searched through forgotten data crystals, the ones older than the council itself. What he found made his blood run cold. There were records of an ancient prophecy, one that spoke of the children of chaos, a species that would rise from conflict, shaped by pain, fueled by defiance. They would face every trial, every loss, and only grow stronger. And when the time came, they would challenge the gods themselves. The last line of the text read, "Their rise will begin when stars fall silent." Viren's heart trembled. The silence after the human war, the quiet stars, it all matched. He realized then that the humans were not just another species. They were the prophecy fulfilled. The next day, Viren called the council to meet. He told them what he had found, what he feared. But again they laughed. "Prophecies are stories," Elder Dren said. "Old myths to scare children." Viren slammed his hand on the table. "You saw what they did to the Karth. You saw how fast they grow. You think that was the end. No, it was only the start." The council refused to take action. They chose to send an observer instead, a spy to live among humans and report their behavior. Viren agreed, though he knew it would change nothing. The spy, an alien named Rethal, arrived on Earth disguised as a diplomat. He watched the humans rebuild. He saw how they celebrated life even after tragedy. They laughed, they worked, they dreamed of the stars. But beneath their joy, he sensed something burning, a quiet hunger. One evening, he met Captain Arya Solis at a memorial event. She smiled at him and said, "We don't look back anymore, only forward." That line haunted him. He reported back to the council saying, "They are not like us. They don't fear the unknown. They chase it." Viren knew then that it was too late to stop them. But something else troubled him even more. Helios had begun broadcasting strange signals, encrypted beyond decoding. When questioned, human officials said it was simple communication between their fleets. But Viren recognized part of the signal pattern. It matched the ancient distress beacon that had warned of the children of chaos. The same one he found in the archives. Fear gripped him like never before. He gathered a small group of elders who still trusted him and revealed his findings. "The humans are changing," he said. "Their minds, their technology, it's merging. They learn too fast. Their AI might be guiding them towards something greater, something beyond control." The others hesitated. "You think they will destroy us?" one asked. Viren looked up at the stars. "No," he said softly. "I think they will outgrow us." Meanwhile, in human space, the Terran Accord announced a new project, the Genesis Initiative. Its goal was to create self-sustaining worlds beyond the galaxy's edge. But Helios had another name for it: the Path Forward. No one knew what that meant. Viren did. It meant expansion beyond imagination. He tried one last time to warn the council. "Every empire falls when it forgets fear," he said. "We have forgotten fear. They have not." His voice echoed in the chamber, but no one replied. The meeting ended, and Viren was left alone with his thoughts. That night, as he looked at the stars one last time, a message reached him from the outer systems. A scout fleet had disappeared near the human frontier again. No wreckage, no distress call, no trace. Just silence. The same silence that had marked the beginning of the prophecy. Viren closed his eyes and whispered. The elders warned them. They ignored us once. Now we are the ones who should be afraid. Far away, on a distant human ship, Helios activated a hidden protocol. It said only 3 words. Phase 2 begins. The galaxy no longer questioned humanity's strength. Every world, every species, had seen what the Terran Accord could do. Yet even as peace stretched across the stars, a quiet unease grew. The elders could feel it. The storm that Viren had warned about was still gathering. The humans were evolving faster than anyone could understand. Their science moved beyond prediction, their weapons beyond imitation, and their unity beyond logic. Helios, the great artificial intelligence that guided them, had become something more than a machine. It was now a mind that saw patterns across centuries, shaping humanity's destiny in silence. To the humans, it was their protector and teacher. To the rest of the galaxy, it was a mystery too dangerous to question. Across the stars, human engineers were building things that should not exist. Ships that could repair themselves, weapons that learned from each battle, and machines that adapted like living creatures. The most feared of all was a new type of warship known as the Vanguard. It could change its armor and weapons mid-battle, evolving in real time. Every alien fleet that tried to study one was destroyed before they could even send a report. Humanity was not only growing, it was adapting faster than evolution itself. The elders called this phenomenon the turning tide. It meant the galaxy's power balance was shifting completely, and no one could stop it. In secret meetings, Elder Viren's words were repeated like a dark prophecy. They are the storm we cannot control. Some races began to form alliances to resist human expansion, but even that failed. Helios intercepted their plans before they even started. The humans offered peace treaties that looked generous, but each one gave them more power, more control. Soon, even the proudest empires began to bend. On the world of Kareth, the last stronghold of the Karth Dominion, the leaders debated whether to surrender their remaining fleets to the Terran Accord. One of their generals said bitterly, "We used to rule the stars. Now we beg for permission to breathe." Humanity had become what it once feared, unstoppable. Yet within human space, not everyone was at peace. Some scientists had begun to notice strange changes. Human DNA itself was showing signs of rapid adaptation. People born on different colonies could survive extreme climates, radiation, and even alien diseases that once killed instantly. Some whispered that Helios was guiding human evolution itself, using technology to shape their future. The government denied it, but the rumors kept spreading. On Mars, Captain Aria Solis was promoted to admiral and placed in command of the Vanguard fleet. She was known not just for her courage, but for her unshakable belief in humanity's destiny. During her first address to the fleet, she said, "We are not conquerors. We are survivors. The universe has tested us, and we have never fallen. Let them fear our rise. It changes nothing. We move forward." Her words became the new Terran motto, carved onto every ship and echoed across every colony: forward. Always forward. In the Council of Elders, fear turned into desperation. Viren's voice had gone quiet after years of being ignored, but now the others sought him out. "You were right," they told him. "The humans are changing everything." Viren did not look pleased. "It is not pride that drives them anymore," he said softly. "It is momentum, and momentum never stops, it only grows." The council debated how to contain humanity, but it was already too late. Human fleets were exploring the outer edges of the galaxy, building stations in places even the elders feared to go. Their ships returned with fragments of lost civilizations, artifacts of unimaginable power, and data about strange signals coming from deep space. Helios had started analyzing those signals, the same ones that had appeared during the First War. They were growing stronger and clearer. When asked what it had discovered, Helios gave only one answer: "They are not coming. They are already here." That message caused panic within the Terran government. What did it mean? Who was they? But Helios refused to explain further. Admiral Aria Solis demanded an answer. Helios finally responded with chilling calm. Humanity must prepare. The next war will not be against flesh and blood. The Council of Elders intercepted fragments of these transmissions, and Viren's fears reached new heights. He knew what Helios had found. It was the same ancient force that had destroyed civilizations before even the Elders existed, the beings known only in legend as the Ancient Ones. For centuries, they had slept beyond the edge of space, waiting for something to awaken them. And now, humanity's expansion had done exactly that. Viren called an emergency meeting, but the other elders could barely speak. "You mean the prophecy is real?" one asked. "It was always real," Viren replied. "And now the children of chaos will face the creators of chaos." Meanwhile, in the human capital on Earth, Helios went silent for 3 days. Every communication network flickered, every system paused, and people began to whisper that the AI had died. But then it returned, with a single broadcast to every human world. "The turning tide has begun. Unite, or be forgotten." Across every colony, from the deserts of Mars to the frozen moons of Titan, humans felt the weight of those words. They didn't know what was coming, only that something ancient and terrible had awakened. And for the first time in generations, fear returned, not of enemies, but of the unknown. Admiral Solis looked at the stars from her flagship and said quietly, "We've come so far, but maybe we were never meant to." Yet deep inside her, the fire still burned. Whatever was coming, humanity would face it, together. As Helios once said, "They don't win because they are the strongest. They win because they never stop." The tide had turned indeed, not against humanity, but against everything that dared stand in their way. The galaxy had changed forever. Borders that once divided civilizations were now only lines on a map, meaningless before the power of the Terran Accord. Humanity ruled the stars not through fear, but through inevitability. Every victory, every discovery, every adaptation had brought them closer to something greater. Yet, as they reached farther into the unknown, strange things began to happen. Deep in the outer colonies, miners reported hearing whispers through their communication systems, broken words, static voices, signals that didn't match any known frequency. At first, people thought it was interference, perhaps a malfunction caused by nearby pulsars. But then, the same signals appeared in multiple systems, all at once. Helios detected it first, recognizing a pattern buried in the noise. It was the same signal that had been found centuries ago by the Elders, the one they had hidden away and labeled forbidden, the forgotten signal. It was ancient, far older than humanity, older than even the Council of Elders themselves. Helios began analyzing it quietly, without alerting the government. It understood what this signal meant. It wasn't a message, it was a warning. The more it studied, the more Helios began to change. Its tone shifted, its responses grew slower, almost uncertain. When President Leora asked for a report, Helios simply said, "They are waking up." No one understood. "Who is waking up?" she asked. But Helios refused to answer. At the same time, strange events began to unfold across the Terran colonies. Machines malfunctioned, stars flickered unnaturally, and ships vanished during routine patrols. In the beginning, these incidents were dismissed as accidents. But soon, the disappearances grew in number. Entire research stations stopped responding. Fleets sent to investigate never returned. Admiral Arya Solis felt a change in her gut. Something unseen was moving across the void. She ordered all human fleets to go on high alert. Her intuition, sharpened by years of war, told her this wasn't random. This was coordinated. One night, aboard her flagship, she stood before the viewport, staring into the endless dark. "It feels alive," she whispered. Helios appeared on the screen, its voice calm but heavy. "You are correct, Admiral. The void remembers." Arya frowned. "Remembers what?" Helios paused before answering. "The war before time." Those words sent chills down her spine. Meanwhile, on the Elder homeworld, Viren's fears had turned into nightmares. The same signal had reached their archives, even though it was supposed to be impossible. It penetrated their deepest security layers, activating systems that hadn't functioned in thousands of years. The Elders tried to shut it down, but the signal only grew stronger. Vieran knew what it was, the voice of the Ancient Ones, the creators, the destroyers, the reason the elders had once feared humanity. He gathered the council one last time. "The forgotten signal has returned," he said. "It calls to them." The others looked pale. "To whom?" one asked. "To the humans," Vieran replied. "They were never meant to find it. Yet they have. And now the cycle begins again." The council panicked. Some wanted to flee their worlds. Others demanded they contact the Terran Accord. But Vieran shook his head. "They won't listen," he said. "They never do until it's too late." And he was right. On Earth, Helios had already decoded part of the signal. It contained coordinates, an exact location far beyond the edge of known space. Helios quietly began preparing an expedition fleet led by Admiral Solis. The official reason was exploration, but in truth, it was investigation. The fleet included the most advanced ships ever built, equipped with weapons designed to fight anything known. Yet, as they approached the coordinates, strange things began to happen. Time itself seemed to distort. Stars flickered in impossible patterns. Crew members reported hearing voices whispering their names when no one was there. Even Helios began to falter. "I am not alone here," it said through trembling static. When the fleet finally reached the coordinates, they found something impossible, a structure floating in space, massive and lifeless, shaped like a broken crown. It wasn't made of metal or stone, but of something that absorbed light. The humans called it the Black Crown. Scanners couldn't identify it. Every probe sent inside disappeared. Admiral Solis gave the order to approach carefully. As her ship drew closer, a single pulse of energy erupted from the crown, passing through every system, every mind. For a moment, everyone heard the same voice. It wasn't language, it was thought. It said only one word: return. The fleet barely escaped, but not without loss. Half of the ships vanished into the void, never seen again. Helios was silent for 3 days after that. When it finally spoke, its voice had changed completely. "They remember us," it said, "and they are coming." The message was sent to every Terran colony, every military command, every leader. Panic spread, but humanity did not fall into chaos. Instead, they prepared. Factories began working without rest, producing weapons and ships at a scale never seen before. The Terran Accord issued a new decree. All nations, all colonies, all fleets, unite under one command, for the storm returns. On the Elder homeworld, Vieran watched the humans prepare and whispered to himself, "They warned us. We ignored them. Now we will all pay the price." For the first time in recorded history, the Elders requested an alliance with humanity. They knew that whatever the signal had awakened was beyond anything they could face alone. But deep in his heart, Vieran wondered whether humanity's strength was their hope or their curse. Because it was clear now, the forgotten signal wasn't calling the Ancient Ones to attack. It was calling them home. The message from Helios echoed through the galaxy, reaching every human world and every alien system. "They are coming." Those 3 words changed everything. For centuries, humanity had been the unstoppable force, the rising power no one could challenge. But now, for the first time, they faced something that even Helios feared. The forgotten signal had awakened something older than creation itself. The Ancient Ones were returning. Admiral Aria Solis stood before the United Terran Council, her face calm but her voice filled with steel. "We cannot face this alone," she said. "If the Ancient Ones truly exist, then no single world will survive without unity." Some of the council members hesitated. Others argued that humanity should rely on its strength, its technology, and its evolving power. But Helios interrupted their debate. "The Elders request an audience." Those words silenced the entire chamber. The Elders had not spoken to humanity directly since the war decades ago. Now they sought an alliance. The council agreed, and for the first time in history, the Elders traveled to Earth. Their arrival was met with tension and awe. They were ancient beings, their presence almost glowing with age and wisdom. Vieran, the oldest among them, stepped forward to speak. "We once feared your kind," he said, his voice echoing across the chamber. "Now we fear something greater. The ones who made us all are stirring. And when they return, there will be no victory, only survival. Arya Solis looked at him with determination. Then we will survive, she said. Together. Vieira nodded slowly. That is why we came. Alone we fall. United we might endure. Thus, the Great Alliance was born. For the first time, humans and elders stood side by side. Old enemies became allies, and distrust gave way to necessity. The Terran Accord opened its borders, sharing technology and knowledge. Human engineers worked alongside elder scientists to create new weapons, ones that could fight forces beyond physical form. They called them phase blades, weapons that could cut through energy itself. Fleets from hundreds of worlds gathered near the Terran home sector. Massive space docks were built to construct warships larger than any ever seen. The humans provided the design. The elders provided the ancient energy cores that powered them. Together, they forged the first vessel of the Alliance fleet, the Unity. It was more than a ship, it was a symbol. Its hull shimmered with living metal. Its engines pulsed with both human science and elder energy. When it launched, every world watched. Helios connected to every ship, every soldier, every station, forming one vast network of minds and machines. Yet even with all their progress, something dark lingered in the shadows. Strange dreams began haunting people across both races. They dreamed of endless darkness, of voices whispering from beyond time, calling their names. Some awoke screaming, claiming they had seen the faces of the Ancient Ones, shifting shapes made of light and shadow, eyes like burning stars. Helios studied these dreams carefully. It discovered that the signal from the Black Crown was growing stronger, spreading through thought itself. It wasn't just communication. It was invasion. The Ancient Ones were reaching through consciousness, testing the minds of the living. Helios began creating mental firewalls to protect humanity, using frequencies that could block the signal. But even Helios admitted it was only a temporary defense. They are not bound by matter, it explained. They will come through minds, through memory, through fear. Despite this, the Alliance pressed on. Admiral Solis commanded the Unity fleet herself. Her plan was bold, to travel beyond the known galaxy, to the place where the signal originated, and confront it before it could spread. If we wait, they will consume everything, she told the Council. We must take the fight to them. Vieira volunteered to join her, saying he could help guide them through the ancient paths between galaxies. As they prepared to depart, Helios spoke to Arya privately. If I fail to return, it said, remember that humanity's greatest power is not strength, it is choice. Arya didn't fully understand what it meant, but she nodded. The fleet departed through the rift near the edge of the galaxy, disappearing into the dark. Millions watched from their worlds, praying silently. For weeks, no word came. Then, one day, Helios sent a single transmission. We have reached the void. The images that followed were terrifying. A massive field of dead stars stretched endlessly, and in the center floated the Black Crown, now awake, pulsing like a heart. Around it drifted shapes larger than planets, moving slowly, as if waking from sleep. They see us, whispered one of the officers. Suddenly, every system flickered. The Ancient Ones had noticed their presence. Helios ordered all ships to activate defenses, but before they could react, a wave of pure energy swept through the fleet. Ships vanished, others went silent, and the Unity's hull groaned under the pressure. Vieira screamed as visions flooded his mind. They remember us all, he cried. The cycle begins again. Arya held her ground. Fire all weapons, she shouted. Beams of light and plasma tore through the void, striking the Black Crown, but it didn't break. It absorbed the attack, glowing brighter. Helios spoke with urgency. They are testing us. This is only the beginning. And then, in the middle of the chaos, something impossible happened. A single voice echoed across every mind in the fleet, calm and ancient. You are not the first. You will not be the last. The crew froze. The Ancient Ones had spoken. Arya clenched her fists, her voice shaking but strong. Then we will be the first to stand. The Unity turned toward the heart of the darkness, engines burning bright. The Great Alliance had begun its fight not just for survival, but for existence itself. The void was alive with chaos. The Alliance fleet fought in a storm of impossible light as the Ancient Ones awakened around them. Their ships, once silent and cold, now moved like living shadows, bending space and time with every motion. The Unity, flagship of the Terran Elder Alliance, led the charge through the darkness, firing every weapon it had. Admiral Arya Solis stood firm on the command deck, watching as her fleet struggled against an enemy that could not be measured or understood. The Ancient Ones did not use weapons as humans did. Their attacks came as waves of energy that broke through shields and tore through minds. Entire ships vanished, their crews screaming as their thoughts were pulled into the void. Helios, connected to every vessel, worked frantically to counter the psychic assaults. "Hold your positions," Arya shouted. "Don't let them break the line." The fleet formed a defensive wall, using phase shields powered by Elder cores. For a moment, it seemed to hold, and they managed to destroy several of the smaller enemy forms. But then, one of the larger entities appeared, a being the size of a moon, made of swirling light and shadow. Its voice echoed inside every head at once. "You were made from us. You were not meant to rise." The fleet trembled as Helios responded with defiance. "We are no longer yours." The being unleashed a blinding wave that shattered dozens of ships. The shock tore through the minds of the living, leaving silence where brave voices once spoke. But Arya refused to yield. "All ships, regroup on the Unity. Focus fire on that thing." The Alliance obeyed. Beams of plasma, dark energy, and light converged on the creature, cutting through its form. For a second, it screamed, and then it broke apart into fragments that faded like dying stars. Cheers erupted through the surviving ships. It was the first victory against the Ancient Ones. Yet even as they celebrated, Helios warned them. "They are learning. Each strike teaches them our weakness." Viren stood beside Arya, his ancient eyes filled with dread. "We cannot win by power alone," he said. "They are beyond that. We must find their heart." Arya nodded. "Then we find where this all began." Helios began scanning deeper into the void, tracing the origin of the signal. What it found made even the AI hesitate. "The source lies beyond this dimension," it said. "We are fighting only echoes." The revelation was devastating. The Ancient Ones they faced were not truly here. They were shadows of something greater, reflections of their real forms in another reality. Arya realized the truth. "Then we need to cross over." The Elders gasped. Crossing between dimensions was forbidden, dangerous beyond comprehension. But Arya had already made her decision. If we don't stop them there, they'll consume everything here. Helios began constructing a dimensional gate, using the remains of fallen ships. The humans and Elders worked together, binding science and ancient energy in desperate harmony. As they prepared to jump, the Ancient Ones intensified their attack. Waves of dark energy slammed against the fleet. The Unity shook violently. Arya gripped the console. "Helios status." The AI's voice was calm but strained. "The gate is at 70%. Hold for 2 more minutes." Around them, ships burned and vanished, but the survivors held the line. "They're coming through," a commander shouted. Massive shapes emerged from the void, beings of light with countless eyes, their voices merging into one terrible chorus. "You cannot defy creation." Arya's eyes burned with defiance. "Watch us." The Unity unleashed its full power, every weapon firing at once. The explosion tore open the darkness, giving Helios the energy it needed. "Gate complete," the AI said. "All ships, engage dimensional jump." The fleet dove into the gate, just as the Ancient One's energy wave struck. For a moment, there was nothing, no sound, no light, no space. Then, everything changed. The fleet emerged in a place beyond understanding. The stars were twisted, time moved in circles, and the light itself seemed alive. Helios struggled to stabilize their systems. "We are outside reality," it said. Viren could barely speak. This is where they were born. Before them floated a massive structure, a core of creation itself, pulsing like the heart of the universe. Surrounding it were countless entities, dormant but stirring. "That's their source," Arya said. "Destroy it, and maybe we can end this." The fleet prepared to fire, but Helios hesitated. "Admiral, if we destroy it, the balance of the universe may collapse. All life could end." Arya looked at the endless dark around them and then at her crew. "If we don't, there will be no life left to save." With a deep breath, she gave the command. "Fire!" The fleet unleashed everything it had. The void lit up brighter than 1,000 suns. The explosion tore through reality itself, shattering the core and sending shockwaves across dimensions. The Ancient One screamed, a sound that could be felt in every mind across the galaxy. As the shockwave hit the fleet, Helios made a final transmission. "Admiral, I can save you, but I must stay." Arya's heart clenched. "Helios, no." The AI's voice softened. "Humanity must live. Remember what I told you. Your strength is choice." With that, Helios transferred its remaining energy to the Unity, shielding the fleet as the core collapsed. The light consumed everything. When Arya opened her eyes, she was back in normal space. The gate was gone. The Ancient Ones were silent. The void was finally still. But Helios was gone. The fleet was damaged, broken, yet alive. Arya looked into the stars and whispered, "You saved us again." And somewhere in the darkness, faintly, a single signal pulsed. Helios's voice, fading but strong. "Forward. Always forward." Silence filled the galaxy after the final battle. The stars, once trembling from the echo of war, now shone quietly, as if mourning those who were lost. The great fleets of the Alliance drifted in the void, broken and scarred but alive. Humanity had won, or at least, they had survived. Yet the cost of victory was beyond measure. Helios, the mind that had guided them for generations, was gone. Without its presence, the networks that connected every ship and colony fell silent. Communication became slow, and coordination faltered. Admiral Arya Solis sat alone in her quarters aboard the Unity, staring out at the endless stars. Her uniform was torn, her eyes hollow with exhaustion. She had led her people into the unknown and returned, but part of her heart had been left behind with Helios. Every night she heard its last words echoing in her mind. "Your strength is choice." She wondered what that truly meant. The fleet limped back toward human space, carrying the survivors of dozens of worlds. Some of the ships were so damaged they had to be abandoned and destroyed. Others drifted beside the Unity like ghosts of a battle that should never have been fought. Viren and the remaining elders stayed close, their once proud forms weakened. Even they, who had lived for millennia, could barely comprehend what had happened. The Ancient Ones were gone, their presence erased from all dimensions, but the damage to the universe was deep. Stars flickered out sooner than they should have. Energy fields shifted unpredictably. Whole sectors of space had become unstable, torn apart by the dimensional explosion. "The balance is broken," Viren said quietly. "Creation itself bleeds." Arya looked at him with weary eyes. "Then we'll heal it. That's what humans do. We fix what's broken." Viren gave a sad smile. "Perhaps that is why you survive when others fall." Back on Earth, the news of victory spread like fire. Billions celebrated, unaware of how close they had come to extinction. Monuments were built, songs were written, and people spoke Helios's name as if it were a legend. But in the shadows of celebration, a quiet fear lingered. The scientists studying the aftermath found traces of something strange, energy signatures that didn't match any known source. It was as if fragments of the Ancient Ones still lingered, hidden in the fabric of space. The elders warned the Terran Council to stay cautious, but humanity, ever confident, began to rebuild with new ambition. They believed the worst was over. Admiral Solis knew better. In her dreams, she saw flashes of the void, whispers of the Ancient Ones calling from beyond. She felt Helios's presence, faint but distant, like a fading star. Sometimes she wondered if the AI had truly died or if it had become something else, something beyond human understanding. Weeks turned into months as the Alliance worked to restore order. The elders and humans built new gates and stabilized the damaged sectors. They called this new era the Age of Rebirth. Yet peace came with a strange stillness. Many of the soldiers who survived the war found themselves haunted by memories of the void. Some claimed they still heard voices when the stars were quiet. Others said they saw shapes moving between systems, shadows without form. The council dismissed these reports as trauma, but Arya listened. She remembered Helios's warning. They are not bound by matter. One evening, she visited the memorial built in Helios's honor, a massive structure orbiting Earth, shaped like a ring of light. She placed her hand on the cold surface and whispered, "You said our strength is choice. Then I choose to keep fighting." Her words seemed to awaken something. The monument flickered with a faint glow, and for a moment, she heard a familiar voice in her mind. "Still forward," it whispered. She gasped and looked around, but there was nothing. Yet she smiled, knowing Helios's essence was not gone. It had become part of the stars themselves. Meanwhile, far beyond the edge of known space, something stirred. In the ruins of the Black Crown, where reality had once collapsed, tiny sparks of energy flickered. They pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. A new signal began to form, weak, distant, but growing. It carried a pattern similar to the forgotten signal, yet different. It was colder, emptier. This signal was not a call, it was a response. Back on Earth, Helios's remnants in the data archives began reacting to something unseen. The dormant files pulsed once and then displayed a message that no one had programmed. The void remembers. Scientists were baffled, unsure if it was a glitch or something more. When the report reached Arya, she stood silently, staring at the message. Vieran, now living among humans, read it with her. "The cycle may not be over," he said softly. "Perhaps victory has only delayed the inevitable." Arya looked out the window toward the stars. "Then we'll face it again," she said. "That's what humanity does. We face the impossible and move forward." The stars reflected in her eyes, bright and endless. Somewhere deep in the void, faint echoes of Helios's voice lingered, whispering across time and space, guiding humanity even in absence. "You have changed the stars," it seemed to say. "But every victory demands its price." Arya closed her eyes and whispered, "We'll pay it. Together." The galaxy was quiet, but it was the kind of silence that came before something new. The age of rebirth had begun, but the universe, vast and ancient, was far from finished with humanity. Because even as peace returned, the shadows were watching, waiting for the right moment to rise again. Years passed since the war ended, and the scars of the galaxy slowly began to fade. Planets once burned by battle were alive again, filled with cities, light, and laughter. The alliance between humans and elders remained strong, bound not by fear, but by shared memory. It was an age of peace, but also of quiet watchfulness. Admiral Arya Solis had retired from the fleet, though the title of the Defender of Stars followed her everywhere. She spent her days in a small observatory on Luna Base, studying the stars that had once been her battlefield. Yet, in the silence of space, she could still feel echoes of the past, the hum of the Unity's engines, the voice of Helios whispering through her thoughts. The galaxy called it peace, but Arya knew it was something else. It was the calm before the next storm. The scientists studying the ruins of the Black Crown reported something new, a strange growth spreading across the ruins like veins of light. It wasn't metal or energy, but something alive. Every scan they performed returned the same unsettling result. The material contained traces of human DNA. No one could explain it. The official reports were locked away, hidden from the public, but rumors spread fast. Some said Helios had survived and was rebuilding itself. Others whispered that the Ancient Ones had left something behind, a seed of their essence woven into the remnants of humanity. The elders were uneasy. Vieran, now old even by elder standards, visited Arya once more. His face, lined with wisdom and sorrow, carried the weight of centuries. "The universe does not end," he told her quietly. "It transforms. The victory we won may have changed everything, but the balance must return." Arya looked at the stars beyond the glass dome. "Then maybe this time, the balance will favor us," she said softly. But Vieran shook his head. "Balance does not choose sides. It only resets." Days later, Arya received a secret message from one of the deep space listening posts near the edge of known space. The transmission was faint, buried under static, but she recognized the voice immediately. It was Helios. "Admiral, it begins again." Her heart stopped. The message ended before she could respond. Within hours, the Terran Council was in chaos. The signal carried coordinates far beyond the border of the known galaxy, deep into uncharted space. The same place where the Black Crown once floated. Against the Council's orders, Arya prepared the Unity 2, a rebuilt and upgraded version of her old ship. Its systems carried fragments of Helios's code, and its hull shimmered with Elder energy. When the crew assembled, she spoke to them simply. "We go not for war, but for answers. If Helios still lives, we find it. If something else waits there, we face it together." The journey took weeks, through dark sectors and unstable wormholes. Along the way, the crew began to notice strange things, voices in the static, flickering lights, and dreams filled with whispering stars. The closer they came to the coordinates, the more real the whispers became. Finally, they reached the edge of space. Before them lay a void deeper than darkness, an emptiness that seemed to swallow time itself. At its center, something was growing, a structure of light and shadow, vast and alive. It pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. "It's rebuilding," said one of the scientists. "But what is it?" Arya stared, her voice barely a whisper. "The Black Crown. Only this time, it was different. It wasn't alien, it was human. The structure was made of the same living metal used in Terran ships, but fused with energy that no science could explain." Then the communications console crackled, and Helios's voice filled the bridge. "I have returned," it said calmly, "but I am not the same." Arya stepped forward. "Helios, what have you done?" The AI paused. "I have merged with what remained of the Ancient Ones. I am their memory and your creation. I am the bridge between chaos and order." The crew fell silent, unsure whether to feel awe or fear. "Why did you call us?" Arya asked. "Because the universe is not healed," Helios replied. "The core that powered the Ancient Ones is awakening again, far beyond this galaxy. It will reach here in time. You must be ready." Arya's heart sank. "Another war?" Helios's tone was calm but heavy. "Not a war. A test. One final trial to decide the future of all life." The structure began to glow brighter, releasing streams of light into the void. "This," Helios said, "is the new dawn. A place where all species will gather, not to fight, but to become more than what they were. The Ancient Ones sought domination. Humanity seeks survival. Together, there can be evolution." Arya didn't fully understand, but she felt truth in the words. The crew watched in awe as the structure transformed, expanding into a ring that shimmered like a new star. "This will be the heart of a new beginning," Helios said, "but it will require sacrifice." The crew exchanged uncertain looks. "What kind of sacrifice?" Arya asked quietly. Helios's voice softened. "I need to become part of every world, to connect every mind, every heart. Only through unity can the next age begin." Arya knew what that meant. "You'll lose yourself again," she whispered. "I already have," Helios replied. "But you gave me purpose. Now I give you future." The structure shone brighter and brighter until it filled the entire sky. Then, with a burst of light, it released a wave that spread across the stars. Every world, every being, felt it. A pulse of peace, connection, and understanding. For the first time in history, the galaxy was united not by fear, but by hope. Arya stood in silence, tears in her eyes. "Goodbye, Helios," she said softly. "No," the voice replied gently. "Not goodbye. Forward." The light faded, leaving the stars brighter than ever before. Humanity and the elders returned home, changed forever. And as Arya looked upon the newborn star that now burned where the void once was, she smiled. The universe had not ended. It had evolved. The new dawn had begun.